Mic check 1 2 1 2. Thank y'all all for joining me today. My name is Johnny, and this is Live with Johnny. We got a topic we're going to talk about today that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, but I've been trying to figure out how to present this to people in a way that they can understand. As you know, that America right now is in a big push to get immigrants out of the country. That's why you have ICE everywhere. ICE is rounding up immigrants all over the country, and it's sad because last summer before, you seen a lot of people getting deported. And normally you see Mexicans outside having fun and they're playing their music loud, they're enjoying themselves, soccer, all of this. And all of that's really has stopped, just stopped. And that is, to me, is just really heartbreaking to see people who are really just excited about life having to now being they have to hide basically. And I don't know how that feels. I don't think any of us will ever know how that feels. But to have to go around, especially if they're not a citizen, and just feel like everyday anxiety, if you might be picked up, that might be your last day here in America. That's crazy. So anyway, besides past that, let's go past that a little bit. So the goal is to get all the immigrants out of America, right? That is their goal. Understood. As cruel as it is, that's the goal. So if that's the case, you have to ask yourself, who are the concentration camps for? Because see how they do that? They're telling us that they're getting the immigrants out, all the immigrants out, but yet and still they're building concentration camps. So you have to ask yourself, who's going to occupy these concentration camps? I can understand like one or two or three for held over people who need to be shipped out of the state, but they're building concentration camps everywhere. And if you're getting immigrants out of the country and you've gotten maybe half a good deal of immigrants out of the country, then who are the concentration camps for? There's overspending on these concentration camps to build them, meaning that if the country, let's say if they find a warehouse that's $90,000, they're paying $180,000, $200,000 for these warehouses. They're overpaying it. So our tax money is getting spent to build these concentration camps, not to, they're overpaying for these concentration camps. Like nothing is on budget. So I want y'all to take a look at this video, and I want you to see for yourself what's
And what
going
are we
on.
doing here? Come on. Okay. I don't want to go too hard on him because he obviously he's on the right side of it. It's just like kind of crazy that you had to like see it with your own eyes after you got hired by ICE. Okay. But guys, like this is crazy. So highly recommend go watch the whole thing. Andrew Callahan, Channel 5. He interviewed ICE agents. Highly recommend it.
He's talking about ex ICE agents that have been interviewed. They're now coming out talking about ICE and how wrong it is and how cruel it is.
Agents. Highly recommend it. We also have Status Coup says the following, quote, eat it or starve. Delaney Hall ICE guards told prisoners as they complained about worms in their food. Black mold is also rampant. Meanwhile, Trump pushes $1.8 billion slush fund for supporters. So now we're learning, not only, we knew the food was moldy, we knew that there were worms in them. There were multiple reports of exactly that happening. People getting sick, losing weight, not being able to eat because of that shit. Apparently, they're forcing them to eat it. They're saying eat it or starve. That is out of this fucking world. We also have this from More Perfect Union. Multiple ICE warehouses were sold by people in Trump's circle who were sitting on the properties and losing money. So not only is this basically, you know, they're a criminal Gestapo is what ICE is. They're the new Gestapo. But also there's a heaping amount of corruption that's baked into the cake here. In the same way, Alligator Alcatraz, remember that? Well, that's shutting down. Well, Florida taxpayers basically got robbed to the high heavens to build that thing in the first place, and DeSantis and Trump enriched all their contractors that they're friends with. So it's just like everything's just a grab bag of corruption. At the same time, they're quite literally doing fascism. They're also immensely corrupt, and a lot of bad people are getting very wealthy off this shit.
When DHS bought up warehouses to turn into ICE detention centers, I noticed something weird. Many of these warehouses had been sitting on the market for years, and now DHS was buying them at a massive markup, like this warehouse in Socorro, Texas.
They were sitting on the market for years, and DHS bought them at a massive markup. At a markup. You would get a discount if it was sitting on the market for years. Every time, 10 out of 10 times, you would pay less.
Is what it seems like.
And they're paying more than what the asking price was. Fucking fishy as fuck. Well, we know what it is. It's not even fishy. It's just corruption. That's it. Period.
That sold for 1,000% above its recent valuation.
Kristi Noem once championed this program, but now that she's out, the DHS Inspector General just launched an investigation into these warehouses.
To understand what was happening, I reached out to Michael Wriston, a former military analyst who's been tracking ICE warehouses on his site, Project Saltbox.
ICE doesn't necessarily want to be using warehouses. The plan came from folks very close to the White House who were sitting on properties that were causing them losses every year, and the decision was to buy them at taxpayer expense.
Okay, I'm sorry. We need mass arrests. I'm sorry. Anybody who's even remotely close to this regime, you need to investigate the shit out of them. You need to arrest them. Guaranteed, each individual you look into.
So basically, what he's saying is that people, friends of Donald Trump, of the president, who had warehouses, who may have went out of business, those warehouses were just sitting. They were making money because they bought the property or owned the property. It was just sitting there. So with this scheme, what they did is they went and bought the property for 2, 3, 4, 5 times more than it's actually worth, making those people rich. Instead of losing money, now those people are gaining. And it's our tax dollars that's paying for it while we suffer and have high gas prices. That's insane.
At least a dozen crimes. I mean, this is out of control, bro. This alone would be a scandal to bring down any other administration. This administration, you won't even hear about it anywhere else.
Take a look at 3 ICE warehouse sales that have used your money to make people in Trump's orbit even richer. First up, Goldman Sachs. It was the majority owner of this warehouse in Roxbury, New Jersey that ICE purchased for nearly $130 million. That's 137% over previous valuation in 2025. For years, Goldman Sachs executives have had close ties to Trump, like Steven Mnuchin, who served as Trump's Treasury Secretary in his first term. Next up, Blue Owl. You may not know this private capital company, but honestly, you should. 35
so all the Wall Street assholes are getting in on the fun. What a shock.
Members of Trump's administration reported investments in Blue Owl funds. Even Trump himself has over $5 million invested in Blue Owl, which has also been a major funder of data centers across the country. So maybe it's not a huge surprise that Blue Owl was paid about double the market valuation of a warehouse it owned in Tremont, Pennsylvania. And then there's Deutsche Bank. Through a series of subsidiaries, Deutsche Bank owned a warehouse in Salt Lake City that ICE is now planning to turn into a facility with about 10,000 beds. With their DHS.
So that's crazy, y'all. We have got to get to the bottom of this. All right, y'all. My name is Johnny, and this is Live with Johnny. Leave your comments. We're on 3 different platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Help us grow. All right, y'all. I'm out. And thank you for the comment. I appreciate it about the food. Even though this isn't a food podcast, I appreciate that. We out.